So, ladies and gentlemen, don't mind, we will finish up that and then be right back with you. Apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. I'll finish up some meeting minutes approval. What you haven't signed here. sir. Okay, approval for the executive session meeting minutes of February 1st, 2022. Motion by Gray. Second by Honey. All in favor say aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Shouldn't have approved for the arrow. You opposed, Kevin?
Yep.
Okay.
So you're on Dragon Money?
Yes. Good. Alrighty. Bills to be paid as well as the motion to the bills to be paid.
Motion.
Motion by Black. Second by Gray. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Okay. Alright, thank you ladies and gentlemen. Get through some of the boring stuff. Citizens participation. Dr. Seaver, I see you brought some friends this evening, sir.
I did. Mayor, council, it's I'm honored to have a head of state, Chief Jeffrey, standing bearer of the Osage Nation, is in Cuba today and tomorrow, and he's brought with him John Williams, special advisor to the chief, and Nick Williams, chief of police for the Osage Nation. So while they're in town, I wanted to bring the chief up here just to say hello to the council and to the mayor, and have him say a few words, and then I'm going to rush him off to go feed the steak Frisco. So.
Sure, whichever you like to do, make yourself comfortable.
Thanks,
Chief, you're welcome.
All right.
Thanks for stopping in to see us.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and Nick, and John. Would you come up here, please, with me? And members of the council. The COVID has kept us away for a couple of years, and we've been able to start to return. And since we were here last, we've had the experience of meeting Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, and a whole group of very talented people who are going to tell the story that came out of this book, Killers of the Flower Moon. And that will be released at the end of this year or the beginning of next, we're told. John was one of my senior advisor. He was the cultural advisor to the movie. And I can tell you it's going to be a rough movie and a sad story. But it is relevant for my discussion tonight with you to say that we've had some hard times there in Oklahoma, but we've come out of it and we're going forward. And we had hard times before 1870 in Kansas. We lost since we left here, we lost approximately 90% of our people, mostly through smallpox and disease. But despite that, we found a way to continue. And I'm a big student of history, and I love history. I love the history of my people. And I try not to dwell on the tragedies that befell us. I try to look back to the glory days, if you want to say that, which is when we lived here. And we left, as many of you know, 200 years ago. And just a few years ago, we made some friendships here, also in a couple of other communities in Missouri. And although the neighborhood has changed, we have found great friendship here in Welcome Arms. And I was even able to have the honor on the statue, Glenn statue, to do some welding on it myself for the visitor center there. And we started a nice process here in this community of cultural exchange. And we had some of your citizens come down to our tribal capital in Alaska, which is about another 6-hour drive. And they attended moccasin making classes. We brought some of our people here for some of our cultural exchange programs. We've gone to some other school districts in Missouri. For example, we have trunks, which we call them culture trunks. And we find that going to the schools and showing the students our clothing, how we dress. For example, Nick is not only chief of police of the Osage Nation, he is in our ceremonies, he's an equipment man. And that's when we dress in our ancient, the way we dress. And he carries a whip, which is symbolic of his position. He and one other man in those ceremonies keep order in the dances. And I know some of the citizens here have been to our dances, and we have, on Saturday, Friday night, 300 men, 300 women participating in these ceremonies. But we've been sharing that culture, and because we're proud of our culture. And I remember when I was here before, someone that says, well, are you intending to all move back? And I said, no, we're not. But you have to look at it like the Irish would about Ireland. And that's the best way I can try to explain it. This is our homeland. We have great songs and stories of our time here. And these were the good times here. But as many, I would imagine, of Irish descent would want to go back to the old country to visit, consider us in that light. This is ingrained in our culture. Also, my middle name is Mograin, and it's Mongrain. Many of our people, their names like Revelette, Bollinger, Terrien, Rivard, Lombard. There were a lot of French explorers that came to Missouri. And when they came here, we were the only people here. And so we will wonder where all the French explorers went. Well, that's our people, that's us. We are all somehow mixed with the French explorers. And when we moved, well, that was us. We all moved together. And every now and then an Englishman got in. John's wife, Frances, and I are direct descendants from Nathaniel Pratt, who was the staff sergeant for Lewis and Clark on the Voyage of Discovery. I met the descendants of up at Port Jesu, the Historical Society of General Clark. But this is nothing, we just grew up with that, knowing that my relatives were on the Voyage of Discovery. And others in our tribe were descended from that exploration. So the Osage never disappeared, and the French explorers never disappeared. We moved, but we want to have some relationship with our homeland, and so we found here in Cuba a very open community that would like to work with us, and we would like to work with you on exchange. We're expanding our museum, Osage Museum in Pahasca. We've hired world-class architects and museum designers. We have some artifacts we're gathering, exchange programs in the future, we believe. And we just have a good relation, good feeling here. And just the opposite of when we were driven out 200 years ago. So we want to have that relationship, and my successors in this office as principal chief should continue this relationship. And with that, Mayor, I'm going to turn over to my senior advisor, John Williams, who is the man who I've asked to be the point person in our return to our home. So I may turn it over to John, Mayor.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief. You know, he does this to me about every trip. I tell him, told me I'm prepared to do anything. I think Chief's here, he'll speak for the tribe, and he'll say his piece. And, well, here's my senior advisor, John Williams. I'm caught kind of that book. But this relationship with the city of Cuba started several years ago, 7.5, 8 years ago. Reverend Rodemeyer called me and he said, I was told if you want to do something with the OCs to contact you. And I said, well, I don't know who told you that, but I think they lied to you. But at that point, things continued to grow. I told Dennis, I said, you know, I grew up hearing stories from my mother. She was a full-blood Osage, and she told me stories that her father and grandfather had talked about. A lot of those stories came back to this area. They talked about some of the mounds that we had, that our people have built up here, how they used those mounds, how they lived in them, how they actually buried a lot of our people in those artifacts. She talked about some of the camps that they had that my great-grandfather had talked about. My great-grandfather was one of the war chiefs from this area, Paul. His son, Miguel Tonga, was my great-grandfather. Anyway, my mother would say, see those people over there? Yeah. They're married sometime way back. They're the criers or they're shotos or whoever. And I thought, well, how do they keep track of that? Why? I said, well, Mom, you married Paul. He's not Indian. She said, yeah, he's kind of a mongrel. I said, really? Yeah, he come out of the hills of Missouri over there. There are a whole bunch of hillbillies over there. We went there one time. First thing they said, if you're John Williams' son, you can play this fiddle. They said, pretty soon they were dancing outside, and then they got in a fight whose house we could stay with, because only one house had indoor plumbing. I said, that really so? She said, yeah. So that's my attachment to Missouri. I've still got Williams relatives living in southwest Missouri, and I guess they're living the way they did 50, 60 years ago. Because I haven't visited with any of them for 25 years, and at that time, I had an uncle from that area, well, we'll call him my uncle, who would open the icebox door and might try to get that light before it turned off. They'd open it, and the light come on, he'd slam it shut. And I watched him and his wife for about, 15 minutes or so, and I said, Mom, I can't be related to Uncle Irvin in there. You can? I said, no, watch him. I opened that door, that light come on, he slammed it shut. I said, I don't think I can be related. She said, son, how long have you been watching him? I said, about 15 minutes. You're related. Anyway, there's a lot of history of our people being from Missouri. Like Jeff said, you know, on both sides. We have the non-Indian side of our families plus the Indian side of our families. And the culture exchange that we've started doing it started off great balance. In fact, you've had some of our gray horse corn that we provided some seeds for here that your fifth graders have grown. And they actually presented an ear form back to the chief. So that's the old form. I've got some squash seeds from, what do they call those? The old stuff. Anyway, they're the old original squash seeds. And I've got some melons little watermelons about that big around, that, heritage seeds, I guess you'd call them. But, I planned and I talked to, Mr. Bordemeyer and let him know, yes, I'll get some of those seeds here and, let the kids grow those. That was part of our cultural exchange program going on. We, look at the history of this area, and your Route 66 was built on the old Osage Trail from here to St. Louis. It was one of our great trails. So, you know, the ties with the Osage in this area are very strong. And I think, you know, we need to work to maintain those ties, keep that relationship going. Let's learn each other's histories. I know one of your fifth graders, when they were studying some of the Osage history, asked his teacher, if we've got to study them, do they study us? I thought that was an interesting question. You know, and I think it was a fair question. But I think at the same time, they start to realize, yeah, we maintain these relationships, the riches in the mind, in the heart, are so great to learn the culture that were originally in this area. Anyway, it is a pleasure to be able to speak with people. You know, it's not, I've done before, our Indian councils, they're scary. This is not. So I've been with many different tribes throughout the United States. I've been before many councils, their chiefs, their committee people. I'm also one of the advisors to our dancing. Every spring, I'm one of the senior advisors for the Yellowstone, we call it. But there are so many things that we can learn from each other, that we can share with each other. And I think our people are looking forward to being given the chance to do so. Anyway, thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Super interesting. It's been fun to watch. I know for the last, I don't know, 8-10 years or so since some of the projects have started around here with Cuba and the Osage, and seeing it develop a lot over the years, and hopefully they will continue into the future. Absolutely. You guys are welcome anytime as far as we're concerned. Yes, sir.
I'd just like to ask you, you know, you came to Cuba, it's your hometown, oh, your property, whatever. Do you ever go back to St. Louis Bluff, Missouri Bluff? I think you built the back in 1809 something. You guys, about 150 miles from St. Louis. I think that's the first treaty you guys signed, and it was too small, the chief figured and went on. Did you ever go back to that place and see how it grew?
I personally have not, but our historical preservation officer, Dr. Andrea Hunter, and her team have been there. They also are the team that advised us to purchase the last remaining mound on the west side of the Mississippi, St. Louis, and so we did that. So we have people that work on the archaeological and historical preservation side. Every time that someone's building something and runs into an ancient artifact, they call Dr. Hunter's team, and we dispatch a team to wherever it is in Missouri. We've been doing that for years, and one in Arkansas. So we've been doing that for years. So actually, I'm hoping to bring Dr. Hunter here to do a 45-minute presentation to the Chamber of Commerce or someone. And she can tell you about her visits and her team. We've got several archaeologists, but I myself haven't been there, but I know our people.
Well, I understood that there was a small tribe, Osage, and a large tribe that went there at the beginning.
Well, the Great Little Osage, they call it.
Yeah.
And that's correct. There were two major villages, and then we had smaller villages. But after the fall of our area, it was called Cahokia, the city of Cahokia, our people scattered, and that's part of that history, the Great Little Osage. So our history goes back to the city Cahokia.
All right, I'm gonna shut up. Okay, I just wondered. Okay.
Well, I just wanted to say that we're a combination. We try to be traditional and succeed in modern ways. It's tough to do either one, but with Nick's the next generation, and you guys have to keep going on this path. John is a great example. I'm going to have to, well, as you can see, he's not only, he said, a ceremonial leader and advisor, he's a keeper of our drum, sacred drum, the Great Horse District. And he was a U.S. Special Forces Green Beret combat medic, and he was a health system provider. So, he's my senior advisor, and the kind of people we have of this character in our tribe. I mean, that's who I want to be next to me, advising me, that if I was ever wounded, somebody like him would come through and under fire to take care of me. So that's something we honor at the Osage, and we know you do too. So we like the Pledge of Allegiance he did. We love our history, no matter how tough it's been. But we're looking forward to a good relationship with you people, and you've been very kind and warm to us. So thank you for your time.
Well, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. Thank you, sir, for your service.
So I got one thing to say. So you traveled from Chandler through here to Merrimack Springs and on, right? That is your
Territory was further up the Ohio River Valley.
Yeah.
That's where we get like our sweat lodges. We use the Buckeye route, Ohio Buckeyes. Well, don't be do it away with. You get careful with the sweat lodges. You get hurt. But our territory was all Missouri, all of northern Arkansas, and Kansas. We used to hunt the buffalo all the way. Then when we got over to southern Kansas and restricted, the last buffalo hunt was 1868. And the stories we were told was they all kind of left our villages in southern Kansas, went the buffaloes about wiped out. And it was a hard hunt. And we came back, and then they all said the women cried, because when we moved finally to where we are in Oklahoma, they cried like they cried when we left here, because all the mothers had to leave the graves of their children. This is what they said, and of our people who are still here, and we got songs about that.
I'm gonna shut up. You guys got better things you can talk to me.
Yeah,
So
talk all night.
you know.
Well, we got a lot of history here.
Yeah. They may want to say something. I'm gonna shut up and let's go.
Well, Mayor.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank
Thank you, Dennis. We appreciate it very much. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you. Great. Thank you.
Yes, history subject. Read not that.
You read that before you got me.
Years ago. Yeah. Then you go to history class and read up on stuff,
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for that. That was really, really special. Anyone else here for citizens' participation this evening? Okay, hearing none. Property management specialist job posting. We had a vacancy with a position here at the city. I believe the motion was to run some ads internally and externally to fill that position, and I think Craig has some final applicants for us to consider.
Yes. We talked earlier with Matthew Pig. He will be a transfer over from another department to this property management job.
Okay, so is there someone here from that committee that would like to make a recommendation?
I make a motion that we accept Matt's transfer.
Motion by Grady. Second by Black.
Discussion?
Yes, sir.
Is he gonna move immediately, back to keep him, and, cause I am on a natural gas committee?
Yeah, so obviously, until we figure out that vacancy, he understands that he's probably gonna have to fulfill those duties as well, being that he has a skill set for natural gas. So he'll be starting his transition immediately, but also be retained for natural gas purposes when needed, correct, Craig?
Yeah, it's essentially it.
Is there a time limit though, on he has to be certified so long before he loses that certification?
I don't know,
You
and
might wanna talk to Jimmy about that first, because I think there's if he doesn't stay certified, he can't well.
gotcha.
Yeah, I know there's other individuals, who aren't within the natural gas department that maintain those welding accreditations, so that might be something he's interested in doing, and just want to make sure he doesn't lose that
I got you.
if he's wanting to keep it. But yes, Kevin, he will be available to assist, in the interim, and then I would imagine that the next step, would be the natural gas committee will probably have a meeting to decide, what needs to happen with that vacancy. So first and a second to, hire Matthew Pig internally, and have him take over duties as property management specialist. Yes, Susan? Yes. Yes, we got that, worked out as well. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll hire Matthew Pig. Surplus bid openings. We advertised some surplus items here a few weeks ago. That opening has closed. And we have a few bids, not too many bids, but a few bids on some of these items. So, okay, looks like the first one for a Land Pride 6-foot finish mower. We did not receive any bids for that one. The second item we had here was a Rude 3-ton AC unit. And we did receive a couple sealed bids for that. The reserve was set at $100. First bid came in from Eugene Pfeiffer. Eugene Pfeiffer's bid came in at the sum of $187. $187. Second bid says furnace and AC. We'll see if it says who it's from on the inside. This bid came in from Mr. Bill Dotson in the sum of $152. So we have a bid for $187 and a bid for $152. Okay, motion by Honey to accept Eugene Pfeiffer's bid for $187. Second by Grady. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, bid is awarded to Eugene Pfeiffer. Third item up for bid here was a 2011 Dodge Charger. 122,000 miles. Reserve was set at $6,000. We have two sealed bids for this 2011 model. First one. First one is from Cindy Crawford. Didn't know she got the Cuba Free Press. But, Cindy Crawford, 2011 white Charger for $6,517. Okay, $6,517. Here is the second bid. Second bid is from Mr. Brian Mullally for $6,752. So again, first bid from Ms. Crawford, $6,517. Second bid, Mr. Mullally, $6,752.
Motion to accept.
I agree. Motion to accept Mr. Mullally's bid for $6,752. Made by Black, second by Tony. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm sorry.
We're the same board.
Well, I was looking at him and I'm like, you didn't say anything.
The same board.
You're happy.
This guy to the left of me.
Okay, there we go.
There I am. And then the final item that was up for bid was a 2012 Dodge Charger, and it did not receive any bids either. So that leaves this 2012 Dodge Charger and the 6-foot Land Pride finish mower. You wanna hang on to those for future? Do you wanna drop the reserve and run them again? What would you like to see done there?
We've got a couple other generators we'd like to sell too. Can we just?
Just wanna hold back on and do another package here soon? Okay.
Pretty much.
So we'll table those other items for now, and, whenever you're ready, we'll present a new, package of bids to put out.
Okay, we'll get it together.
Thank you for those who bid on those items, and congratulations to the winners. Yes, ma'am. All right, with that being said, that takes us to the Public Works Director report.
Thing I have tonight, so you get council approval on this. This is for our trail engineering. And this was on stormwater analysis for ditch pond. The first engineering fee come in at $6146.60. So we get okay to get this paid.
Yes, this is part of the budgeted monies for the
budget money.
Shenandoah project.
Motion to pay.
Motion paid by Grady, second by Black. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Pay that bill.
And the only thing I have, if you notice in town, we're finally getting the sewer line crew, put a new scanner right now, to actually clean that, getting their cameras, so hopefully we'll see some progress on that shortly.
They're gonna camera and then start lining.
They're actually jetting it right now, and they'll be camera shortly, so. Once I get back over, we'll see some progress.
So I from the finished first phase, yes, sir.
Does that cause smell, the jet?
You should smell that. As well as you smell it. I should boil it up, so.
Yeah, a couple of days in the neighborhood,
That's not
when
really.
I got some gas.
It might be
Good
stirred
for
with
some
some
alcohol.
root logs or something. Well, that's great news. Look forward for that phase to be completed and start on the next phase. Anything else, sir?
That's all I have to say.
Yes, sir.
Who we had on the plans for the water problem over here and by
They are, this was the first stage of engineering we just had.
I've seen that.
He was talking about it in a month, he'll come back to his design, and hopefully we can figure out where we're gonna go with that.
I just wonder where we're at in a while.
No, they're making pretty progress on it.
Yeah, just paid one of the first engineering bills on it, so I imagine that means it'll be producing some material for us here soon.
It's pretty much drawn up, so.
Very good. Anything else, Kevin?
No.
Sam? Dave? Anybody?
I lied.
Go
I want
ahead.
to thank you and the guys for getting out in the snow. You guys did a great job. I've had people come up and say, thank you, they really did an awesome job.
Thank you, Kevin.
Well, thank you guys for that.
Yeah, you guys had a pretty good workout.
Yeah, we just lost none.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Police chief.
Just one thing, nuisance, I don't have anything to report from Cameron, he's working on some other things, trying to get some letters back from, some individuals, or some response back to some of the letters he sent out. Other than that, he doesn't have anything to report. The other thing is on March 19th, we have Race to the Rocker coming up. They're requesting roads closed the morning of. I don't know the exact time, I know it's the morning of. Northwest Maine and Washington, from Buchanan all the way to McLeod, also streets to be closed to the morning of.
Yeah, I mean, every year kind of grant that for the race to take place.
Is that on Main or on 66?
It starts on Northwest Maine, wraps around Buchanan, goes down 66, goes out there to, no, it goes down to, what would you say? Cotton Dot, turns around, comes back, they hit McLeod, and then Northwest Maine again. So all the streets and all the residents will be notified. Between McLeod and Buchanan.
So we back to Race to the Rockers is still running the rails?
Race to the
Is it Race the Rocker or Race the Rails?
Right.
Race the Rails.
Running
Can I say Race the Rocker?
Running the rails. It's not complete. They don't completely shut down 66 and go all the way up to Fanning anymore.
No, just,
Just by my house.
Correct.
yeah, you can't leave.
Leave early or stay home. Or run in the race, maybe.
Person out there cheering
So
on
Saturday
their
is
ice
the
water.
only day I do my business, so it's,
Probably be at work with that. Are you looking for a motion there, though? to-
I just need permission for them to do that and close, roads to close that morning.
Motion by Grady, second by Holt. All in favor say aye. Opposed? And again, our motion was to allow the police to put necessary road closures.
Yep, I'll work with Craig and we'll have cameras and stuff out there for them to put up.
Very good. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Anything for chief? Thanks, sir. Hey, I saw the high-speed police chase.
Yeah.
Right in front of my house at about 12.5 miles per hour.
Well, just so you know, if you've read any news on Facebook or stuff like that about it, this pursuit caused accidents and rollovers. There was no accident, there was no rollover.
Right.
The tires were spiked and he
That was
had
it.
engine failure, drove off the road himself and stopped.
It was sure interesting to see. Glad you guys got through that one safely and got the perk where it needs to be. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, that takes us to bill number 2046, which we will need a motion for the first reading. Motion by granted. Second by Holt. All in favor say aye. First reading, please. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. An ordinance amending chapter 24, article 12, section 24-502, subsection B of the Cuba, Missouri City Code, modifying the date presumed payment is received for utility bills.
Okay, for the first reading, is there a motion to approve? Motion by Grady.
Second.
Second by Black. Hold the council, please.
Copeland,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Honey,
Yes.
Grady,
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
Okay, first reading passes 5-0. Motion for the second reading. Motion by Grady.
Second.
Second by Black. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Second reading, please, sir.
An ordinance amending chapter 24, article 12, section 24-502, subsection B of the Cuba, Missouri City Code, modifying the date presumed payment is received for utility bills.
For the second reading, bill number 2046. Motion to accept the second reading.
Motion.
Motion by Black, second by Grady. Second by Honey. Whoever you got first. Poll the council, please.
Holt, Grady,
Yes.
Honey, Black,
Yes.
Copeland.
Yes.
Okay, second reading passes with a vote 5-0. Bill number 2046 is now General Ordinance 1205. Thank you, council. Old unfinished new business. Mr. Copeland?
I don't have anything.
Same.
Yes, the airport committee met at 5 o'clock today. Travis Pritchett and John Fester were here with Warren and I discussing the need for a taxiway. The resurfacing project is due to be done, I believe, they said this summer. It should create 1,000 plus, they're gonna, 200. They're gonna mill down the old runway and then re-asphalt it, and it's gonna make 200 plus asphalt millings. There's a drainage area in between the runway and where the hangars are located. So they said that would actually be perfect to use it to level out the surface. So really, apparently, according to Craig, the city would only be on the hook for max $3,000, and that includes a 60-foot culvert and an 80-foot culvert. So the committee recommends that we move forward with this plan, and I will make that motion to allow them to build their taxi.
I would second that.
Okay, motion by Black, second by Grady to allow them to complete this taxiway project. Is that paid for out of the airport fund, or is that something the city's going to pay for out of their funds?
I would think it'd be out of the airport fund.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, get them the materials they need to complete that project.
Should we clarify where it will be paid out of? Where would you expect to see it paid out of? Craig?
I just wasn't sure if you guys discussed that, if that was, okay. I would guess that if it's paid for out of the airport fund, if that's what you're assuming, then we'll just move forward with that. If they're asking for the city to pay for it out of a separate fund, then maybe we'll need to take it to a separate vote. I don't know. Shouldn't even said anything, but I just was curious if you had it out of their fund, or if it was. You said the city will be on the hook for it. So that's why I didn't know if you've been to tourism.
We're all in it together.
Fund.
Yeah, we wouldn't think it would be it would fall into tourism.
I mean, excuse me, the airport or street fund or jail fund. Airport.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I know the airport fund's not rich, so. You have to look at the numbers.
I think Travis said the city needed to come up with the culvert.
Yes, I think we got it.
Everybody's in motion. General fund.
Okay. Motion by Black, second by Grady, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Again, willing to support the project. Anything else, Steve?
Yes, so back to the airport, as many of you may know or remember, it's probably a year ago, we discussed there's 5.32 acres that borders the airport to the west. There's currently a pond on the property, well actually our property line and the property owner's property line runs right through the middle of the pond. There's been some concerns, especially since we removed all the trees, about waterfowl landing on the pond and then taking off across the runway, and it could potentially be hazardous if a plane is taking off or landing. I know it's a budgeted item to purchase this property or make an offer on this property. So due to Warren's relationship with the property owner, I'm going to make a motion that we allow Warren to negotiate with the property owner to purchase the property in question. That's my motion.
Okay, motion by Black to allow Warren to converse with the property owner, research possibility of purchasing that property, which is what we're looking at, correct plans?
Yeah.
And then if Warren's able to gather any more detailed information, he can bring that to us and then we can decide if we want to make an offer. Okay. Motion by Black to allow Warren to have some conversations with this currently owner.
Second.
Second by Honey. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're back, sir. Anything else, Andy?
That's it.
Mr. Honey?
No.
Oh, Curtis?
Nope, I'm good.
Miles?
Motion to go into executive session.
You have one.
Please.
I'm not familiar with your guys' process. So
All good.
I apologize for not speaking up earlier. I guess you gave that opportunity to citizens. So could I bring something to the council?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, my name's Tracy, Kriegel. I'm with the Tri-C Committee, so I work with Cuba Fest. Do I need to step forward or?
Whatever makes you comfortable, as long as we have your information for the minutes.
Sure, so we're working with Cuba Fest this year, so it's our 60th anniversary. And so we want to do just something a little bit different this year. I know we usually normally just close School Street or close Smith down to School Street. And so because it's our 60th anniversary this year, we're going to be doing some bigger things. And so we're looking at doing a cruise in this year. And so we've got a Firebird Club coming from Troy, Illinois this year. And we're going to be pulling in quite a few other cruise-in folks from the local area. So they're going to be coming down from Troy, Illinois, all the way out of St. Louis, and we're going to try to pull in a lot of tourism coming from Friday, Saturday, Sunday into Cuba. So we're working with the Chamber and several other groups in Cuba. So what we're asking is we can close Saturday morning, just Saturday, from Route 66 down from North Smith to School Street, and then from West Spencer, the corner of West Spencer, down here from North Hickory, just West Spencer, the corner of North Hickory, down to North Buchanan. So it's kind of this T right here. And so because we're going to look at putting the cruising cars here on this T, and then we'll put right in the center of the street here, right at City Hall, we'll put the actual DJ to do the cruising out here on this plan. So then that way we're going to pull in another group of people besides just crafters. We're going to have a different venue of folks, two people to kind of pull in. So that's kind of our goal this year, is to pull in a different crowd of people as well. Promote tourism. We're looking at doing we're going to get with Jimmy, and we're going to be looking at doing a street party, possibly on that end of town on Saturday night, to actually pull in more tourism on Saturday night into the town. So bigger, better things coming. A lot more things that we're looking at to try to pull tourism into Cuba. So that's the idea, but we definitely wanted to see if we could get the road closures down, because I want to get the car club's already committed to come out of St. Louis, so they're doing a huge thing in May at Gateway, but ZZ Top. So their car club is tripling, and so they're gonna come out of St. Louis on Friday night and come to Cuba. So they've already committed.
They're bringing ZZ.
I wish they would. I'm like, please bring them with you. I know, so they're a Firebird club, but they do like Smoky the Bandit and got like, you know, all 9 yards. I'm like, oh,
Again,
fun.
moral story of any of these is just contacting property owners and making sure they have access to their driveway, because they still have to be able to get in and out, and there's plenty of side streets where people have other options, but
Yeah.
again, coordinate with the property owners.
I'm trying to picture that in my head. There's only 3 or 4 houses. That
Yeah, there's not a whole lot there. Yeah.
Everybody should have gap. Save-A-Lot won't be impacted because they have all the side and the front entryway. These guys here have back. I think that house there would be able to still, you know, have access to the street, because Masonic Lodge, they do the morning breakfast, so they shouldn't be impacted. They'll be able to get to them prior to the actual event, because these guys will come in at 8. That breakfast starts at 7, so we'll be able to have access there. Nothing is on the street here.
Right.
Because, you know, Mid-State, they'll still have that access to that street. City Hall's closed on Saturday, so we should be good with the street.
Any issues, Doug, that you can see? Motion to allow access to grant for road closures. What is this event again? Sorry.
October 15th.
Second.
60th anniversary.
Motion by Black, second by Grady. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Sounds awesome. Thank you.
It's October 15th. October 15th.
Are you looking for more car clubs?
Yes, yes. So if you know people, send them my direction. So,
I know Alderman Mouse isn't here tonight, but he's, okay, so he does a lot of
He's
recruiting.
on board, he does. He's going to help me. So, yeah.
Very good.
So if you need to reach out to me, my number is 573-259-2301. And we're going to be working with Route 66 clubs, and we put out posters. We're going to see if we can get with the Free Press to do a tourism type spread within the paper to promote Cuba.
Sure.
So
That'd be
just
great.
Growing up the vertical and the tourism to this area.
Let us know what else we can do to help. We need Public Works guys to help you out. Anything, let us know.
We can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I do have something.
Sure.
And this is just my thing. Y'all may not like this idea, but you know, the city of Cuba passed capital improvement tax and really generous to us, and back this 100%. The community comes in south of the city of Cuba, they spend the money and we get sales tax. I've been thinking about food pantry, and I believe that we have money in the capital improvement to build a building for them. There's probably, I don't know how many people goes over it, 1,000, 1,200 a month, maybe that many. The citizens already paid some money in the capital improvement tax. What better way to show the citizens of the city of Cuba? You know, we are for you. You pass this tax, we need a food pantry. Let's build a building for them, and everything's great. I mean, we have the money in capital improvement. Let's figure out the size, where it's going to go, and tell the citizens, let the citizens know we really appreciate what we've done. Now we're doing something for you. That's just my way. I've been thinking about this hard and long. We need a food pantry. I'd like for the city to build it. I don't want like, well, if you match the funds, we'll match the funds. You know, we're getting this money in from the citizens, the community, and they come in, they stop, they've actually paid for this building. Let's build it for them. We have something to be proud of, what we gave back to the citizens. That's just that's just what I just was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, my first question would be making sure that CapEx money can be spent on something like that.
That'd be perfect, we have a problem.
That's run by the Ministerial Alliance. Is there a problem?
I don't have an answer for you at the moment, because I don't know how you would go about doing it. Again, the first question is it gonna be a city building?
City-owned building.
It'll be a city building.
Authorized to use, or are we giving the building away? Because giving away the building is, runs into that same thing.
It'll be a city property.
What I'll probably do, Lance, is because Chris, or Control's gonna have to look at if we can spend CapEx money on something like that.
Yes.
That's gonna be one thing. So maybe have her and you start an email conversation together, Kevin, to see what that would be.
Well, I think maybe in Hood Park, it's our building, they can use it in the park. So we'll keep the building, they just use it.
Okay. Then, I have less issue starting from that concept.
Right.
We just have to find out whether or not
Yeah, I think he's CapEx or something like that, but then obviously some of the other details on your end as far as we own it and who runs it and insurance and all that type of stuff, but.
Yep.
That's how the conversation starts, Kevin, so we'll see if we can't get an email chain going and figure something out.
We should have the property, and we should be able to build it, and we should be all right.
There you go.
God knows we're all right. God let us pass part tax. If He's with us, we're all right.
Sounds great. Do we have a first and a second to go into executive session?
I made it first. That was like an hour ago.
Yes. So we do have a first and a second, first by Gray, second by Tony to go into executive session. Poll the council, please.
Copley,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Tony, Grady,
Yes.
Okay, we will now enter into executive session.